In many cities in the Southland, building owners have been subject to mandates calling for seismic upgrading or retrofitting for structures that are particularly vulnerable to major earthquake events. Joe Demers of Alpha Structural says soft-story buildings like these apartment complexes in Pasadena make up the bulk of their retrofitting business.
There are thousands of buildings like this in the LA area. Usually they involve parking on the lower floor. Units above, there's parking below with a bunch of small little columns that hold it up. Yeah, they just go like that.
Joe says it's common for pre-1976 buildings to have this design deficiency, and his company's task is to shore up the structure with reinforced poured concrete foundations and steel beams retrofitted onto the existing frame to prevent that toppling motion.
We discovered this deficiency mostly in the Northridge earthquake, and so ever since then they've been trying to retrofit all of them.
SoCal hasn't had an earthquake on the scale of Northridge since 1994, when that quake caused 72 deaths and more than $40 billion in economic losses. And Joe says Northridge has had lasting effects on the building industry.
Well, every time there's a big earthquake, they go back to the codes and they change things and they add things.
16 years ago, the Great Shakeout became a worldwide event where millions of people participated in earthquake drills at work, school, and at home. Seismologist Dr. Lucy Jones was at a Chamber of Commerce event on Wednesday to help spread the word about earthquake preparedness for small businesses and business districts using a fictional earthquake scenario.
The drop cover hold on drill is going to remind you that the earthquake's inevitable. Now think about one thing you could do to make it better. Maybe it's making a family communication plan. Maybe it's storing some more water. Maybe it's finally hooking down those bookshelves that you don't want to fall on your kid's bed. But do one more thing, and you do that each year, you're going to be ready.
Lucy explains messaging about earthquake preparedness often focuses on the individual, but says it's just as important that businesses be prepared through things like retrofitting their structures to help minimize damage and improve economic resilience.
Because the serious economic recovery really means that we need to get in there and start rebuilding really quickly so that we don't end up fading away into a depression.
Event organizer John Bueri of the Alhambra Chamber of Commerce says part of being prepared is also knowing what the city mandates and requirements for retrofitting are.
Every jurisdiction has its own retrofit requirements. Building owners or tenants should check to see if their building has been retrofitted, if it's a vulnerable type of building. There's different ways to see that, whether it's a brick building or a concrete building or even a steel building, but every level of construction is based on its building code at the time that it was built.
Cities are continuing to try to meet their retrofitting mandates, which means Joe and Alpha Structural will be busy for a while.
We're doing a little bit less now, but it'll probably pick up again as the other cities have mandates.
Preparing for the next big earthquake that seismologists say everyone should be ready for.